ニューヨークの独立報道番組デモクラシーナウ制作責任者のエイミー・グッドマンさんよりサイレンスとマジョリティ、物言えぬ多数派、放棄と選挙と抵抗、そして希望というタイトルでお話しいただきます。グッドマン先生、よろしくお願いいたします。
Well, it's an honor to follow Professor Crouch and to be with all of you today. Special thanks to Professor Nakano, who organized this, and to Makiko Nakano of Democracy Now! Japan and the whole team who has helped translate Democracy Now! To a Japanese audience. The issue of democracy must also address the issue of an independent media. Independent media is essential to the functioning of a democratic society. I wanted to start off by talking about where I come from. I originally come from Pacifica Radio, which was founded in 1949 in Berkeley, California. A man named Lou Hill, who was a war resistor, a conscientious objector, came out of the detention camps after World War II and said, there's got to be a media outlet that is not run by corporations that profit from war. And so Pacifica Radio was founded. Not run by corporations as George Gerbner, the former dean at the Annenberg School of Communications at the University of Pennsylvania, said, not run by corporations that have nothing to tell and everything to sell that are raising our children today. And so Pacifica was born. 1949, KPFA in Berkeley, California. 10 years later, KPFK in Los Angeles. And then my station in New York, WBAI in 1960. And then a station in Washington and a station in Houston, Texas, what we call the Petro Metro, Houston, Texas. That's a very interesting station. It was born in 1970. And after a few weeks of operation, the Ku Klux Klan strapped dynamite to the base of the transmitter and blew it to smithereens. Now, the silver lining was, it's not as if Pacifica had money for advertising, and it certainly blew it into the consciousness of the potential listening audience of the people of Houston. A few months later, they got back on their feet. They rebuilt the transmitter. They were broadcasting Arlo Guthrie's song, Alice's Restaurant, and in the middle of the song, the Klan blew it up again. I can't remember if it was the Exalted Cyclops or the Grand Dragon, the leaders of the hate group, the Ku Klux Klan. But he said it was his proudest act. I think that's because he understood the power of independent media. Because independent media allows people to speak for themselves. Whether it is a Palestinian child or an Israeli grandmother, whether it is an uncle in Iraq or a Habakasha of Hiroshima. There is nothing more powerful than hearing someone describe their own experience, or if they are unable to describe that experience until they can tell their own story. That breaks down stereotypes and caricatures that fuel the hate groups that target democracy. I think the media can be the greatest force for peace on earth. Instead, all too often, it is wielded as a weapon of war.